Every night the mafiosi get together for another mission, and every day the civilians must gather together to make sense of the gruesome crime and attempt to identify the perpetrators. Each player takes on the role of a mafioso, a special character, or a civilian. And it's a fight to the death as the innocents try to figure out who the murderers among them are before the gangsters can wipe them out and seize control of the city.
Hi everyone, welcome back to The Green Gamer. My name is John, and today we're going to be going over the party game called Mafia. And what's really cool about this particular version of Mafia is the fact that it is full-colored. So you can see that the characters have some really amazing artwork to it. They have their own backstories, their own motivations as to why they're doing what they do, and adds a little bit of layers and a little bit of nuance to the game. As well as the narrator, or the judge in this case, he has a little notebook to keep track of what's going on in the game, so he knows who's dead, who's not, who's been saved, and who's not, and so on and so forth. And what's also really cool too, again, is the fact that this is a pretty comprehensive rulebook on how to play the game, adding some new characters, some new layers to the game, and an additional layer of fun to the whole thing. And without further ado, let's go ahead and switch cameras and get going. Now, one of the most important cards here is the judge. He's the narrator, or they're the narrator, I should say. Without the narrator, you can't really do anything in the game. His job is to narrate the story and make sure the rules are followed so that everyone can have fun. Part of his job is to keep notes on how many mafia are playing in the game, who the detective is, who the doctor is, and so on and so forth. And then also taking notes on who's been killed, who's been saved, who has been lynched, essentially, or, police execution squad or whatever, and who was questioned. Pretty important job for a person to have. I would suggest somebody who has experience playing the game in the first place to take the role of the judge narrator. And up next we have the Mafia. These ones represent different crime families like the Cosa Nostra, the Yakuza, and the Bratva. The Comando Verhemo, please correct my pronunciation on that, it's apparently Portuguese. The Hong Kong Triad, and the Five Families. Now, besides looking pretty cool, there isn't much difference in how they play. One thing that the judge can do is, in the instruction manual, each one of these mafias has an MO that they can do. The judge can essentially weave a story about how each victim was killed, and it pointing to a specific member of the mafia who landed the killing blow, essentially. For example, the person was strangled by piano wire, which would point towards the one from the Cosa Nostra. Again, just to add some flavor to it, not to call anything out or anything like that. And up next are the vanilla civilians. All of them have their own interesting bits of artwork, and all of it is pretty interesting. I'm not going to put all of them out, just some of the ones that are on here. And these particular cards are going to be used for the more new people who haven't played this game before, and for smaller groups as well. This is more for level 1 play according to the instruction manuals. For level 2, on the other hand, you have two powerful allies for the civilians. The detective, who's trying to figure out who the mafias are by seeing someone's true identity each night, and the doctor, who can save one person per night. The cool thing about the doctor is if they decide to save someone who was targeted by the mafia, that person doesn't die because they got to the medical office in time, meaning that the mafia wasn't able to kill anyone. Now, judges' rules on how to actually do the doctor, they can have them pick whoever they want per night, or they can't save the same person 2 nights in a row. So how that is done is going to change how the game is played. Now, if you want to go up to level 3, on the other hand, you have the bad informer, the good informer, and the old lady with a shotgun, who is honestly my favorite character out of all of this. Both the informants, during the night, they know who the mafia are. During the night, when the mafia picks their first victim and they go to sleep, the judge will call out, "Good informer, open your eyes," and then call out for the mafia to raise their hands. So that way they know who the mafia are. They call out the good informer to close their eyes, the bad informer to open their eyes, same thing. So that way both informers know who the mafia are and try to help their team to get the win. Now, the old lady with a shotgun, she doesn't really care who anyone is. During the night, the narrator asks the old lady with the shotgun to point to a victim and shoot. She doesn't care who she kills as long as she's protected. If, however, she is questioned by the detective, she will shoot herself out of shame. So it adds another layer to everything. Now, if you want to have some additional fun, the narrator, before the game starts, they can say that there are going to be some additional characters added to the thing. First one is the lawyer. They can choose during the night to defend someone from being lynched. They cannot be lynched the next day. the drag queen, who can randomly switch cards between two players and change their identities. The players have to continue to play the game according to the new identities, and it's up to the judge whether or not they get woken up every night or every so often. The firefighter can pretty much do the same thing the doctor does and help save a civilian's life. The last two up, you have the Yakuza, who actually can be granted a second ability depending on how you guys want to play it. She can sacrifice herself from the second night onward and appoint someone else to be in part of the Mafia. So if she happens to get the detective or the doctor or someone like that on the Mafia's team, the civilian team is severely crippled for the rest of the game. But at the sacrifice of her own life, she sits out for the rest of the game. And lastly, you got the Godfather. He is out of retirement, and he takes control of the international mafia, but is closely guarded so that no one knows who he is, and he appears to be a civilian when questioned by the detective. He wakes every night and acts with the other mafia, and if he's killed, the mafia forfeits the game. So like I said, this particular version of Mafia is really, really cool and brings out a whole new nuance to the entire game. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell down below. Also, the link to this game on Amazon is going to be down in the description below. Don't forget to check it out, and until next time, everyone, GG's.